In this video, I'm going to talk about how to really rebel against the system and change the world. And I'm going to talk about some common fallacies and things that I've been through and things that I see out there going on right now. Now, to give you some context, some background of what I'm talking about, oftentimes people take on a very extreme lifestyle or very extreme religious belief or very extreme dietary belief in reaction to something they see out into the world. So example of that would be people who are just hardcore vegan or something along those lines. And what I'm proposing here is that oftentimes people take this hard line approach in this dogmatic point of view and end up harming themselves, denying themselves, starving themselves, not nourishing themselves, and basically suffering. And somehow in their mind they think that this suffering actually proves something to the other people, the other group that's they're trying to rebel against. When in reality, that group probably doesn't care. They probably don't even notice. And honestly, they're probably happy and content that, hey, we made this person so miserable, and now that they're choosing to be even more miserable, they're choosing to, deny themselves nourishment. They're choosing to lead this austere aesthetic lifestyle that is actually harming them in the long run, but they're hanging on to it for some sort of ideology or some sort of belief. So, again, not to pick on hardcore veganism, because I was one at one time for a solid 3-4 years. So I'm coming from that perspective of being in that culture and really buying into a lot of that stuff, and then realizing, hey, things aren't really, I don't feel so good. Things aren't really feeling that good. I'm looking around at my friends, I'm looking around at these people, they aren't really feeling too good either. And we're doing all these things that are, quote, healthy, but it's not really helping. And nothing's changed. These people who I'm rebelling against are doing this out of reaction. They don't care, actually. So why am I doing this? So that's really the idea. The idea that harming yourself, denying yourself, and suffering really is not rebellious and is really not going to change the world. Because if you feel like crap, if you're in a poor state of health, if you're in a low state of vitality, you can barely get your own stuff done, so you can't actually go out and change the world or change anything, really, because you're just in this fog or in this low state, which I should point out that when you're in the middle of it, you don't even realize it. Just like right now, where I'm at, I think I feel great. But a year from now, I'm going to look back and think, man, I could have felt a lot better. I could have done some things differently and what have you. Just like, this time last year, I thought I was, feeling great. And then now this year, I can look back and say, hey, should have done these things differently. I feel way better now that I've changed this and doing this and experimenting with this. And I've learned it's just a process of growth and evolution. So, rebelling against a society or a culture or a group or some sort of idea isn't really rebelling, because let's say you're choosing to be a vegan, or choosing to be a straight edge person, or choosing to be some sort of like monk aesthetic lifestyle where you think, oh, materials are bad, money's bad, nourishing my body's bad, having things that I want is bad. In that sense, you're not really rebelling, because you're just picking an approved and accepted form of rebellion. So just like angels need demons and hot needs cold, male needs female, you're just taking, the positive and you're going with the negative. But in reality, that's just the pre-approved, accepted mold that you're just filling into. And that's something that people can understand, they can relate to. They say, oh, I know those people, they do this, this, and this. They're like this, blah, blah, blah. And they have you figured out. And you think, oh, I'm so rebellious, I'm so revolutionary, I'm going to do something, I'm going to change the world. When in reality, it's not really going to happen. So the point I'm trying to make is, how do you really rebel, and how do you actually change things? So what I think is the most rebellious thing that you can do is to actually value yourself enough, to have enough self-esteem and self-worth to truly nourish yourself. Not just with food, but with your thoughts, with the music you listen to, with the people you hang around with, your relationships, your job. Every aspect of your life, you choose to make it nourishing and sustaining and fulfilling to you. Now, a good example of this, to illustrate it, would be people who say, oh, I'm a vegan, or I'm a raw foodist, or I'm a this or a that. and they think I'm doing this. So, for example, a vegan thinks, oh, I'm a vegan, but I'm going to eat shitloads of donuts and, Pepsis and just all this junk. But I'm a vegan and I'm sticking it to the man and, I'm rebelling. When in reality, you're just harming and poisoning yourself, which I don't know what that changes or what that proves. So, on that note, nourishing yourself properly, giving yourself your body what it needs, is more rebellious, because if you look out at society, the majority of people aren't doing that. The majority of people are guzzling garbage all day long and not really giving themselves the nourishment that they need, doing jobs they hate, around people they don't like, in relationships they don't like, watching TV programs they hate, flipping through the channels consistently, music they don't like, which is why they can't even listen to a full song. They have to ADD out and, 30 seconds in, a minute in, boom, on to the next one, on to the next one, on to the next one. Friendships they don't even really value, which is why they can't even be present enough in the time frame that they have with the person, because they have to always be texting or always checking this or checking that all over the place. And it just proves there's no real nourishment there. So the next thing that makes something truly rebellious, can allow you to actually rebel, improve something and change something and do something, is to care about yourself enough to actually spend the time and the energy to work on yourself to be the best person that you can be. Whether that's physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, energetically, with other people, with your job, with your instrument, whatever it is, it's adopting the archetype of the lifelong student, of the person who realizes, I've got strengths, I've got weaknesses. There's only so much I can do. I'm going to have a limited time on this planet, so I'm just going to do my best and try to be as humble as I possibly can and try to just constantly improve and correct my mistakes, right my wrongs, and keep on. And realize that that's the only way you can truly change anything, whether that's your life or anyone else's life. And that walking around being angry, being sarcastic, making fun of other people, making fun of the quote groups you're quote rebelling against or you're quote above, it's not really proving anything, and in fact, it's just what, quote, they want you to do, and it's just an accepted, cookie cutter little version of, quote, rebelling, which proves nothing. So, just wanted to get that out there. I'm sure you have some questions and comments that you want to share with me, because I'm sure I said some things that, already sparked your brain to go on, and I apologize back there. I dropped the S-bomb. Sorry about that. We can blame it on the kombucha and